Still working on the great room. I'm looking at it just to see, well, what can I do to make it better? And my first thought is, well, this is a nice set of windows and I can, because I can see this corner here is an outside wall. I can put some of those windows over there. Second thing is the next time I do the rendering, I want to make sure that I can include the entirety of the archway. Not sure that I'm 100% happy with the arch the way it is, but we can look at it that way. And then it's time to work on the ceiling again to give, or it's time to work on the ceiling to give it some interesting appeal, which means that I'll have to put some lighting in. So this tutorial will be primarily about adding the ceiling and some lighting. So let's put the windows in first though. So let's say if we click on this guy and say create similar, I can put him over here and I'll put another one right there. I would like the distance to be the same, this wall space to this wall space, but that's not going to happen. All right, so now the question is, what do I want to do here? So let's measure what kind of a distance we have. And it's 5 inches, so let's just make it an even 6. And then I'll take this guy and align, oops. So that was exactly the opposite of what I wanted to do. I'm going to take this guy, line there. Okay, that's better. So now let's take that camera and put right there. Make sure that I get both edges, but this one I'm going to have to raise this one up quite a bit, actually, in order to see there's something weird going on there. So I'm going to leave that out of it. And I love doing the 3Ds because I have to put this on the second or above here too. So we can go back to the first floor architecture. I have my section. I'll go to that view and I can simply grab these two and copy from where? From the corner here to where? To this corner here. Let's go back and look at our 3D view now. Okay, again, I love these 3D views because it's showing me that there's this piece that I put in there. I should be able to join that and have it go away, but it's not working. So let's just do this. Ooh. Ooh. It's a different situation. Let's try this. Let's try it. Wait, no, it's not. Okay, right here. Now, this is what I'm concerned about, is not that guy. Huh. All right, so now before I make any assumptions of what's going on, let's go take a look here. So this wall is definitely, this wall comes down. All right, let's go back to that section. Let's try to join again. Let's see if I can join this. What happened? I think it took it away. Let's go back. Yep. It did take that piece away, but not this. So let's join again. Let's join this guy. This is the wall down here that I want to join to. Anyway, so I still have this wall. I could just raise, no, I can't. All right, so I'm going to edit the profile. A lot of little workarounds. Just edit the profile and break this guy. Trim extend. Extend. I got an error message when I did this one. So let's delete that. Let's go back and look at our 3D view now. Say okay. I think we're all right. Let's look at our consistent colors. Yeah. Okay. So we can ZE to zoom the extents. All right. So I like that. I'm going to pull it out. So I want to see the stairs. You can see there's a hole here. And what I'm looking at is the basement wall because there's haven't put the stairs to the lower level in. Save that. And then I will render this in the cloud. Final. Next. Now this is going to go into the background and render in the background while I continue to work. Now the advantage of sending your file off to the Autodesk server is that you can continue to work on your project while the rendering is being generated. If I had used my computer to generate this rendering, there'd be a couple of issues. The first one, of course, is that my computer is much slower, and so it would take a much longer time. And the second is that I can't continue to work on my project, which I want to do. So now I want to put the ceiling in this room. So let's do that. Let's go to our ceiling plan. First floor ceiling plan. Notice I maximized it now so that I can see my ceiling plans because I don't like to leave the ceiling plans open. Because what happens is then sometimes I hit this, I think I'm working on the first floor architectural, but I'm actually in the ceiling plan. So this guy we don't need. So we can, let's see, what is it? Oh, we can do VG, imported categories, and turn off the site plan. We don't need it. All right. Now I know my ceiling. I don't want to work on the ceiling right now in the great room. So architecture, ceiling, it's gypsum wall board. It's only gypsum wall board. Take a look at properties. That's all it is. It's 5/8 gypsum wall. And that's how I want my ceiling to be. All right, and then we'll sketch it. And it's really just a rectangle, so I'll say it's a rectangle. It starts, the gypsum board is going to start on the inside corner of the gypsum board. And it's going to go all the way to the inside corner of the gypsum board here. And let's say okay. Now, I did not pay any attention to what the elevation was. So let's go take a look at the section just to see where I ended up putting it. And you can see that it's way too low. That's all right. Let's use the align tool. Looking for a level. Let's see what happens right here. What's this level? That's the facial. That's not the one. See the top of the wall. It's this one. That's all right. Then let's do it this way. Let's change the properties. The top of second floor wall. And now let's put 0 offset to see what happens when we do that. It's 5/8 of an inch too tall. So now we'll just subtract minus 5/8 of an inch. And my gypsum board is exactly where I want it to be. Let's go back and take a look at my ceiling. Now I have a ceiling up there. And I want to put another ceiling. But this time I want it to be a drop ceiling. So let's go back. Let's see if we can copy that down. Now let's copy it down 18 inches. Let's edit the boundary. Now Revit's telling me, oops, I don't want to do this. Let's go back to that section, see what happens here. Okay. I was concerned that because it was highlighting both ceilings, that it would pull both of the ceilings back, but it doesn't look like it did that. So this is what I want. I want the higher ceiling to be all the way to this wall, but I want the lower ceiling not to be that wide. So, all right, let's go back to, well, let's just click it right here. Edit the boundary. And we can go to the first floor architectural. We'll see the magenta lines. And let's move everything in 2 feet. So I'll just come straight down 2 feet. And that might not be enough, or it might be too much. Look at it in 3D. And we can always change it later. And this guy, and 2 feet. This way, 2 feet. All right, and this one I'll have to put a dimension in. Let's go here to there. I want that to be. And this, say 2. Don't need that dimension anymore. So now my gypsum board, the lower gypsum board, it would appear to be floating in that space. So let's go back to our 3D view. And there it is. Now it's floating. So I don't want it to have a thin edge like that. I want it to have some thickness to it. So I'm trying to think of what the best way to do that is. Still trying to think about what the best way to do that is. While I'm doing that, let's go see what's happening with our rendering. So I've clicked on the View tab. I'm going to go over. I can see that it's still rendering, but I'll go over to my gallery. It's on a different screen. All right. Let's see. Just want to make sure. So the rendering is still in progress, but I can still see it. And it's showing me the full opening here, which I'm still not convinced that that's what I want to do. But I can see it now. It's starting to look good. Okay, it's almost done. So let's minimize that. Just make sure that I'm sharing the proper screen. All right. Still trying to think what the best way is. Let's do a sweep. Um, let's see. The first floor architecture, you can't see it. Let's go to the first floor ceiling plan. You can't see the ceiling. Let's see, VR for view range. We're in the second floor, we're 7'6". What if we went all the way up to 8 feet? Oh, that's from the first floor. All right, so. And I would like to be 8 feet above the first, second floor. And I would like to have my reference plane be. Let's change that to 8 feet. Let's see what happens. Okay, now I can see my ceiling now, which is what I wanted to see. All right, so architecture. That's really ceilings. Okay. I want to do a suite. So the first thing Revit wants to know is the path. So sketch a path. It wants me to pick a plane, so let's pick that plane. I'm going to do nothing to do it. Sketch a path. Pick a plane again, but this time I'm going to see. There we go. So I picked the entire ceiling. So now I can draw the path, which is like that. Okay. And now Revit wants me to give it a profile, okay, of the suite. All right, so 1x4. Well, we might have to modify that. So we're just going to say okay. And let's say okay to that. Now let's see what we did. We weren't really paying attention to all the constraints that we should have been paying attention to. Yeah, okay, look at this. So our sweep needs to be a little bit higher. It needs to come in. Whatever that thickness is, it has to go this way by 3/4 of an inch. And it needs to go this way. That one I'll copy. All right, now when I looked at the sketch, the profile is here. Let's flip this section. Okay. Now we'll go back and I want to edit that. Sweet. Let's go to that section. And now we're going to edit in place. We'll edit the sweep. Now we can see the insertion point there. So let's horizontally was -3/4. So that should push it over 3/4, and it did. And then the vertical profile, Control V, because I couldn't remember it. And like it. Okay. So far so good. Now it's in the right spot. It's not the right material yet, though, is it? So let's go back and look at our 3D view. Now you can see that I have a little bit of depth there. And here we ask what the material is. Let's change it to gypsum board. Now, I've mentioned this in previous videos, but my computer is taking a long time to do that. Okay. It's okay with that. And right away, I'm going to go over to the save, just in case something is corrupted or is about to be corrupted. Okay, so now let's go back to the ceiling plan. And I want to put downlights in here. So let's try a little trick. 2 by 2. There we go. Now I have a grid system in there, and I can start to put my light fixtures in using this grid system. So I can put one here, here, and here. Then this one here, 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 this one here. Okay. Here, miss, 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 here. Perfect. Okay, so let's go. Architecture. It's a component. It's a light fixture. Let's see what we have here. Must be up here, or it isn't at all. There's one ceiling fixture which I don't want. There's a downlight spot. 60-degree tilt. Oh, but look at the shade. I just want a recessed light. Which I'm not seeing. Okay. Insert. The family. Let's see, there should be. There we go. Lighting. Architectural. Internal. Downlight round. Possibly what I'd like to have. Okay, let's see what happens. It's not a recess. All right, let's put one in. We'll take a look at it in 3D just to see what I did. Can't see it. Yeah. It's a surface mounted fixture anyway, which I definitely don't want. So let's go back to the family. Recess can, that's what I want. Six-inch incandescent. So I don't want that one. We'll go back to the first floor ceiling plan and architecture component. Recess can. Let's put it right there. See if we can get it close. All right. Getting an error message. I don't know what it means, but I can see that I'm getting what I want. So I'll go back to the first floor. And I will copy from here here. Yeah. Okay, so I have half the distance, twice the distance, twice the distance, and half the distance. All right, so like that. I'm going to grab these three guys. Make sure I only grab three by looking at my filter. And I'm going to copy, make sure that multiple is selected, and I'm just going to go from here to there, straight down to there. Making sure I'm going straight down. Right. I think I like it, except for the fact that it's a drop-in ceiling instead of gypsum board. So let's go look at it in 3D first of all. Okay. That's what I wanted. We'll change this now back to gypsum board. Look at that. Now I'm going to put a perimeter of lighting around the outside. So let's see. Architecture component. I didn't notice if we had any linear lighting. So I have to change that to. Or I might have to load that as well. Yeah, not seeing it. All right, so go to family. Looking for strip lighting. Let's see if that'll work. Yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So that is telling me can't see it. So let's go to this section. See what happened. Don't see it. Go back to the first floor just to check the depth of field. That could be the problem. Let's change our depth of field. Go back to that section. Let's see it up there. I do see it right here. Let's see, that's nothing that I want. Let's just drag that up there. And edit the type. We can see that the length is 4 feet. How wide do I want it to be? Let's measure. From here to here is 11 feet. So if I made the width of that 10 feet, edit, duplicate, and 20 inches. And the light length is 120 inches. Let's see what happens now. Look at that. Okay, now it's highlighted. I'm using the arrow keys on my keyboard. So 120 inches is not enough. Let's measure that again. So I said was 10 feet. Let's make it 11. Look the type. Okay. So now another 12 would be 132. And okay. Now let's take this section and cut through this way. I can see, I might want to raise it up a little bit. See if we can align it here. You won't be able to see it from below. Let's see if we can get it a little closer. Still, I don't think you're going to be able to see it from below. Now let's mirror that. See if I can pick the midpoint. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the midpoint's right there. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that looks pretty good. What I did was I counted 1, 2, 3, 4. And I counted 1, 2, 3, 4. If there was another one, I would have used that as the midpoint. But I knew, okay, somewhere in here is going to be a midpoint. That looks pretty good. Now, I'm going to copy this guy again. Let's go to our first floor ceiling. Let's close everything that isn't active. Now I'm going to WT and I'll have both of those views open. Let's select this guy. And I can see him right there. We'll rotate him 90 degrees. Let me use this. If I can see it, I'm going to grab it right here. Nope. I'm going to grab this guy. Get himself. We'll come back and do it from here. Okay. And still selected. Rotate. And now 90. And there he is. So we'll pull him over to here, approximately. Let's make sure we're in the right spot there by going to the view. That looks okay. And then we'll come back just a little bit and take a look at it. There it is. How wide do we want that to be? Let's measure from here to here. It is 29 feet. So we'll make it 28 feet. Edit the type, duplicate, just 28 feet. I still have it selected. So I'm using the arrows on the keyboard. That looks pretty good. Now let's go to the view in the perpendicular direction. And I'll take this guy. And now I have a middle fixture. I can mirror about Okay, let's go back and we have a 3D view that I liked. Okay. All right. Before we do that, we can go getting an error message from Revit. All right, let's see. And the error message is about the render gallery. There we go. Give me a second. Make sure that I'm sharing that. I think I am, but I'm not sure. So I wanted to save this since it's the same name. 3D view 4, something like that. Well, I guess it's already done. It won't overwrite that, but I want to save image anyway. All right, so number 12 would be the next one. I'm going to save that. Then we can close all of the inactives. We don't need this guy. CE. All right, so what we want to do is we want to look at this with the lights turned on. So we go to render. The render dialog box pops up. And we're going to say interior, sun, and artificial. Then render in the clouds. Final. Maximum. Render. And here we have the floor plan and starting to show the finished ceiling. This space is starting to look more interesting to me now. And I think you can see that the linear fixtures that I put are starting to show some light there. So I think you can see that, and I think it's true that it's happening. But anyway, that's it for this tutorial. I'm starting to do some finish work here. Remember, this is a speculative house. There is no purchaser. I'm designing for a client who will build this house without a purchaser and hope that someone comes along and buys it. Or they will market this house through the use of my floor plans and renderings and try to sell it to a buyer without having constructed it. But either way, this is not something that has a buyer waiting for. My client is the owner of the property, and he will put this house on that particular parcel of land, hopefully, and sell it. So let's stop at this point right here.